Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Today I have some really exciting stuff to share with you guys regarding Gotham Knights. And I think I may be closing in on some of the narrative elements that this game is adopting. Now, remember from our past conversations, the development team at Warner Brothers Games Montreal have basically teased this game in different aspects. But the creative director himself has said that a lot of the narrative is taken from a series of different elements within the Batman universe and even the Bat family storylines. So that being said, I've been looking around for different clues as to how to find some of, these elements and where they're from. And in our last video, I showed you guys basically one character that seemed to be defining a lot of, what might be going on. And basically just her presence in the game is one that's really interesting and unique. And her name is Renee Montoya. She is actually a GCPD officer who does have a very relevant storyline if you actually go through the literature. And I promised you guys that I was going to go ahead and actually start to look for some of the material that she actually does, in fact, feature in. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? We found her. She is in the Knightfall, Batman Knightfall comic series, and actually she does play a decent role with another detective who was also under Jim Gordon named Harvey. Now, one of the really interesting things about this is what this really does in regard to putting the storylines together is we have to look at her role and how she's approaching villains that are basically troubling Batman and Gotham City. And even this particular, edition of the Batman comics that features her, the main characters actually for this comic are Bane and Batman himself. It's actually a series with 3 major volumes, and those are actually quite interesting because there are other characters that are featured within. Now, do I think that it's a surety that we're going to be getting, the characters that are featured because, this so-called detective is actually there? Not necessarily, but it's actually a nice clue to run upon, especially when there's an information drought. In fact, if you guys are watching the footage on the screen, I'm going to go ahead and show you again. You can see her on the right side, Montoya. She's basically friends with the Gotham Knights. This is actually interesting. I mean, if you think about it, when we first got the teasers and the reveals for Gotham Knights, I mentioned this in my other video, we were actually in a weird position when we saw that one of the emblems belonged to the GCPD. And the GCPD basically has a weird relationship with the Gotham Knights in the onset of this game. So in order for them to be able to have an insider is actually something that's really interesting and really cool. And I think that might be the dynamic that Warner Brothers Games Montreal may be playing when it comes to this particular character. Because if you also think about their last game that they made, which was Arkham Origins, Batman also had a weird relationship with the GCPD, and it took a while for him to win over the GCPD to his way. So who knows? It might be a thing where the GCPD might have issues with the Gotham Knights, and there might be an encounter where you actually meet with this Montoya lady and you're able to basically, I would say represent yourself in a decent way where she then eventually comes around to being friends with y'all. Because even if you, were to continue with her storyline, there are aspects of her storyline where she is playing pivotal roles with, the whole Batman story, and even has some skepticism about Batman as well. Perhaps she'll share that skepticism and actually maybe in some case transfer that to the Gotham Knights, and over time the tensions may ease up. You never know. The footage that we even have and the gameplay loop was a gameplay loop about a dozen or so hours into the Batgirl progression, the Batgirl story progression. So maybe Batgirl has formed these relationships because she's right now going to be spearheading the Gotham Knights, and so maybe she's formed these relationships as something that the Gotham Knights would need. Because yes, even though she may be, in a place where the Gotham City Police Department is at odds with Batman and, they can't trust anyone, at the end of the day, they still need ways to be able to get inside of those systems if there is some corruption even, with the GCPD, because that's something that can affect them. I mean, even in the Arkham Origins game, that dynamic was a big, huge part, because remember that whole sequence where you actually had to, infiltrate the Gotham City building twice, actually, in order for you to be able to at first go in there and, get some, I don't think you were supposed to try to maybe hack into their servers. And then the second thing that you had to do, I can't even remember, it's been so long, but that's actually pretty interesting to see that this character may hold a role in this game. So I think we have another piece of the puzzle right now. I think it's actually really interesting to see, and I'm going to be doing more research and digging to see how this character has a relationship with some of the Gotham Knights. She actually does have very minimal contact with the Gotham Knights in the literature, but I don't know for certain how Warner Brothers Games Montreal plans on using this storyline, and perhaps even her presence as this kind of a sage or kind of the Jim Gordon replacement, because that's, I think, the role she's going to be playing. She's going to basically be playing a Jim Gordon type role to Batman, but instead she's going to be playing that role to the Gotham Knights. But anyways, I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Do you think this is a pivotal character? I mean, I asked this question in my last video, but I think we really need to stay on this trail for now. And as we're going on, maybe we'll be finding more pieces to enlarge what the story and the plot points are for the Gotham Knights game. Talk to you all in another video. And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. It really does help a lot. Thank you very much for your time and audience. I appreciate you guys in this community. Thanks for all the love and all the support. Hopefully we'll talk in another one. Peace out.